In my years of teaching, something that I came across very often were students with perfectly aesthetic notes. These students came to class with different colored pens, different highlighters, different notebooks, and one student even had an iPad and an Apple Pencil. I remember the first time seeing one of these students' notebooks and just thinking to myself, wow, this is beautiful. It should be in a museum of some kind. Looking at the notes, I thought that student was going to ace every single exam because her notebook almost looked like a textbook. When the midterm for that class rolled around, the student actually didn't do so well. And I remember her coming up to me and saying, "Hey Jin, I don't really understand my grade. I spent hours on these chapters and I took really careful notes. How come I got a C? I was just as confused as she was. Her notes looked perfect." So I asked her if she had some time to go over the test and figure out what might have gone wrong. She agreed, and we spent a lot of time going over the problems on the midterm. As we were going through it, it was very clear to me that she still didn't understand a lot of the concepts. So I asked her, "Hey, can you show me how you study for these?" She took out her textbook and started to write down, almost word for word, things that were written in the textbook. And all of a sudden, it hit me like a truck. I realized that she was scrapbooking. She was trying to find a way to make the notes appear beautiful. After about an hour, I asked her if it was okay if we can try something. For the next 2 months in class, just use a regular pencil and paper. No different colors, no highlighters, nothing like that. And when you go home to study, I want you to keep the same routine. She wasn't convinced and thought that this would not help her learn. In my classroom, I always had a copy of the notes that I took in college because I wanted to show students the kind of student I was. I took out the notes and I showed her some very messy pages. I used to take notes and they would look like a chicken walked across the paper with its claws out. She saw my notes and asked me, "What is this?" I told her, "This is how I took notes in college." It was messy, but it helped me to understand the material, not just write it down. She seemed a bit skeptical, but was willing to try it out. For the next 2 months, she was in class and only used pencil and paper, and I noticed that she would participate way more often. After the final, she asked, "Why did that make a difference?" I thought that if I was highlighting and making things different colors, my brain would understand it better. I had to tell her, "It's because you didn't spend hours studying. You were spending hours deciding on what color to make certain words. Now that your brain doesn't have to choose the color or the highlighter, it can really focus on what you're writing and what's being done." She ended up passing the final with a B+. I don't want students to fall into the trap of passive review. Let Lumi handle the structure. You just do the messy work in your notebook.